Welcome to the channel, Paradigm Review Show, Planet X Film, YouTube.com. Just drinking tea today, guys, so don't worry, we won't go to the extremes of last show. That was a specific thing, but do check out the Crow 2024 reaction. This is Monkey Man 2024, Paradigm Review Show, the #1 show on YouTube.
Most def.
Gaz Shinobi, go subscribe to his channel, Mosh Shinobi. We'll have it in the description below. Any additional thoughts? It is UFC 300, so we should mention that. Maybe me and Gaz will give you guys some predictions at the end here.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's what my mind's on today. I'm particularly looking forward to Kayla Harrison's debut, but I better behave myself. I'm going to start talking about that now. But yeah, much love to you all. Thank you for joining us, or if you join later. There will be American Ninja 4 dropping on Mosh Shinobi soon. Myself and Ross have some stuff planned on there as well. Just follow us on the channels and you'll see us uploading new content.
As far as new stuff, I think I've been up on first couple episodes of Shogun. I think me and Gaz will most likely bringing Shogun to you on Mosh Shinobi. I know Gaz has started Ninja Kamui. Gaz, I think some of the homies are actually on the soundtrack to that. I didn't even know that when I originally recommended it to you. So.
Oh, dude, I was going to say, because the score's actually pretty sick, man. Yeah, there's some nice grimy beats, and it's right up our alley, man, with everything.
Yeah, we'll get. Gaz is up on it. I sent him some trailers. I think there is a full episode on YouTube. I didn't watch it yet, but hopefully we're gonna bring both of those. And before we get started, I just want to say, Gaz, I watched the first episode of Fallout. Now it's mad long. It's mad long, dude. It's like an hour and 20 minutes. I didn't think it should. I don't know. Let me choose my words carefully because I don't want to pull a Gaz. What was that? Force Awakens here on you guys. But
give the whole plot away.
I thought it was good. Really? I don't know if, it becomes a lot sillier and the plot, messes up later on in later episodes. But as far as like action, grindhouse, style of shooting, detail, it was super bloody, super gory, especially from Amazon, which I think it's tough to do Fallout without the gore, right? Because it's a big part of it, so...
It was just from the trailer, I didn't think it looked very good, and I thought, man, but I trust your recommendation, man, so I will give it a go, and if it's something that we think it actually turns out to be a decent series, maybe we could cover it.
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, I wouldn't put it up there to like The Boys, because The Boys is like non-stop with the profanity, with the fights, with the gore. Yeah. So it's not quite as non-stop as The Boys, but and maybe if there is a little bit of issue, it's pacing. But again, I think that first episode is like a pilot episode, so that's why it's so long. If it gets down to 50, 60-minute episodes and they're a little more concise. Of course, I love Walton Goggins. That girl who plays Lucy, who's the Vault Dweller, I don't really know much about her, like what else she's done, but I thought she did pretty well in that one. So anyway, if you guys are interested, just let us know what you think of Fallout in the comments below if you started it yet.
Yeah. So just mad quick before we jump into Monkey Man, as the cinematography, everything, does it look like the Fallout world that we're used to from the games?
Yeah, I thought so. So 75% of the episode is in the vault, so you don't really get to see it's Vault 33, I think. So you don't really get to see much of what Gaz is talking about, the wastelands, but about spoiler, you can skip me if you need to, about 3/4 of the way through the episode, there is a reason why she needs to leave the vault, and she does get out there into the wastelands towards the end. So I think, and then also Walton Goggins' character, who you guys know, is obviously like a ghoul, and the ghouls are basically
the one with the cowboy hat on.
Yeah, so he's like a western kind of ghoul.
Oh, cool. That's pretty cool.
He'll be out there, and they do kind of a little bounty hunter, kind of western thing at the end. It's like Goggins' little scene at the end there, and it's I liked it. I don't know. I mean, I know other people are kind of having mixed reviews, and again, if the plot totally takes a nosedive and turns to ass, guys, it's not on me. But anyway, shall we get into this Monkey Man, guys?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Okay, so it's Dev Patel's directorial debut. I was super impressed with the directing of this movie. Again, Definitely. As Gaz said, the budget was like around $10 million. Gaz just looked it up for us. I know that the dev said that they essentially had issues where this almost didn't get finished. And then Gaz also brought us some more insider information that they finished shots with GoPros and iPhones. I just learned that 2 minutes before coming on air, and I just want to say, guys, I think Gaz agrees with my point. you cannot tell at all that GoPros and iPhones were used in this film from the way they edited it. So it's super amazing. Go ahead, guys.
I was going to say, even if it had kind of stood out a little in that, it would have gone with the tone of the film, as we'll no doubt tell everybody as this review progresses. I think it would have still worked.
Yeah, agreed. And I don't think it's not something that you need to know to watch an action movie in the thing. The other thing is, and Jordan Peele is the producer on this, and I do like almost all of his stuff. I mean, I didn't think Us was his best movie, but Get Out was sick. Nope was. I still think you and Max should go run Nope. Guys, I don't know if you guys have caught that yet, but I thought Nope was sick. So far, Jordan Peele has done a damn good job on his filmmaking. I think he's only 3 or 4 in, and then I don't think I saw his last one. But anyway, for him to be a producer on Monkey Man, it definitely shows he knows what he's doing. Then, of course, we didn't even mention Dev Patel's pretty much first action movie. So this is the dude from Slumdog Millionaire, which I know was a big deal, put up crazy numbers. I actually haven't seen it. But we'll insert the trailers up here in the card and below, just so you guys can see it. But the synopsis: an anonymous young man unleashes a campaign of vengeance against the corrupt leaders who murdered his mother and continue to systematically victimize the poor and powerless. So a lot of Indian themes in this movie, very steeped in Indian culture. So, some of that stuff might have, gone over my head to other people who are more in tune with Bollywood and stuff. I mean, I think you've even seen more of the Indian action movies than I've seen, Gaz, because I know you've recommended a couple of them. So
yeah, well, what's been interesting, folks, is traditionally, and I mean this no disrespect, they're still entertaining. A lot of the Bollywood movies can be very over-exaggerated. For example, there was a movie I watched about 2 years ago where a guy was punching through trees, but it was hilarious. But recently, and I don't know how long this stretches back, we've kind of had this alternative side happen in Bollywood where they're making all these really grimy, sick action movies, and they're really good as well. Really good action scenes. There's one, it was only on the theaters a week or two, and it is on Netflix. I've yet to watch it. It's called Salah. I've probably just butchered the pronunciation completely, but that's actually meant to be pretty sick. So I'm all for it. Different interpretations, showcasing different film from parts of the world. Bring it on.
Agreed. Especially in the action genre. I think that's. I know horror is a very common intro genre because you could essentially make them on a micro budget, which I guess you could kind of argue Monkey Man does that. I don't know that $10 million is a micro budget, but just to do the comparison, John Wick, similar origin, production hell story, is John Wick was stuck at. Was it 30 they topped out? I thought it was 20. I thought John Wick 1 was only 20 million, and then we've talked about this many times on the show. Keanu stepped in with his own money, but I'm pretty sure Dev must have put his own money into this because I saw a headline from him that he said at one point he thought it wasn't going to get finished. He's like, damn, we just sank all this money into this thing, and it might be one of those ones that just doesn't come out. So I have to assume that Jordan Peele stepped in with the producing and got it done for them. But regardless. Again, I'm not like the Dev Patel expert guy. Haven't even seen Slumdog Millionaire, but ridiculously impressed with his directorial debut. Especially one thing, this goes along with the phrase that I've overly used in the last few Vigilante movies of the stylized action movies, a la Equalizer 3 and some of the other ones. And this definitely follows along in that vein. But as far as editing and all that stuff, and even my friend Dante said, plot-wise, maybe some of those Bollywood elements, is it plays much more like a drama than it plays just like a, just like a random, vigilante, kind of like a Liam Neeson Taken or something like that, because there's there's just a lot of acting, and, Gaz and I will talk about some issues that we had with the pacing, but as far as Dev Patel opening himself up with action with Monkey Man, dude, I could see this dude cameoing in Expendables as a secret character, you know what I mean? Because he pulled off the fight choreography, he pulled off the gunplay, he pretty much pulled off everything, and then had a very, grimy, gritty, kind of Indian slum style to it, as far as the backdrop. So it
had me thinking of a little bit of, was it Extraction 1, where it was set in the Far East as well, a little bit of that feel. Obviously, they even referenced John Wick, and there is and then even elements of The Raid as well. Shout out to Slipknot fan, good to see you again, thanks for coming through, man. But It's interesting you say that about Dev could make a cameo in, say, The Expendables or something. One of the first things we both said after watching Monkey Man, I remember we were talking about this, and we said, okay, this might not be open to make another Monkey Man. Okay, if they do and they find a way they can do it, awesome, you know. But we both said, man, this guy can certainly make some Indian action movies for sure. What's good, Fire Pixie? Thanks for coming through.
Yeah, check out, if you guys haven't seen Monkey Man, Slip and Fire, definitely check it out. I don't know, like, it right off the rip, they, you know, one thing I will say is, like, when you watch the trailer, and I hope this isn't spoilery, it wasn't exactly what I expected, because when they showed him with the monkey mask, kind of doing that alter ego in the pit fight, whatever you want to call it, the fight club, the pit fighting sequence. I'll just say, like, he got me, because he showed you that trailer, but he gave you enough in the movie that didn't, like, it didn't play out how you thought it was going to play out, how I thought it was going to play out. Like, I thought he would be this, like, pit fighter dude with the monkey mask, and then he would be like a vigilante at night, or just kind of something kind of cliche. Don't even ask me why I thought of that, because I just watched the trailer and I didn't really read much, like, synopsis or background. And I don't know, was that what you expected, Gaz? Like, I just thought he was going to be like an at night vigilante and kind of whatever, you know? Like,
yeah, I know exactly what you're referring to. Not to potentially spoil this, I'll just say from the trailer, it leads you to think that the guy could be in his, I'll say his alter ego, and I'll just say things don't quite happen like that. And I've even dropped a spoiler in even stating that, man. So yeah,
I mean, I think it's fine to say the trailer leads you one way and the movie, like, leads you another, which is what you want. I think in a movie that's what you want. You don't want the trailer to lay out the whole outline for you. And
it's nice. Yeah, it's nice to not have like the Hollywood trailer where you've pretty much seen the movie in the trailer.
That's exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, just like his use of angles, lighting, again, very, very steeped in, you know, Bollywood style filmmaking, but very done in a very stylistic, vigilante way. He doesn't skimp on gore. He doesn't skimp on blood, Gaz. I just to talk about, not too spoilery, but just like to break the fights down. We talked about how, like, if a dude gets thrown into like a window, it automatically shows you that reaction shot of the body like hitting the window from the other side. So like he did very creative stuff with kind of showing you opposite angles, as opposed to just the usual, like, the guy fighting with the camera behind him and his fists and legs swinging, you know what I mean, and just what's happening to the bodies as they drop or whatever. It's a much more like 360 element of, like, making you feel as steeped in the fighting scenes, like you could be standing right next to them watching the way that the angles shoot around you, you know, as the viewer.
Yeah, they really did go for the immersion effect. Kind of. I don't know if anyone's seen Hardcore Henry, where it's kind of like a movie based on kind of a first-person shooter game, and they do that. And Monkey Man certainly has that feel. There's so many other, I think, influences that have come through, and Ross mentioned the gunplay. Another thing I forgot to mention, folks, when we were talking about this last weekend, even the way they were using the guns, and that kind of has that Equilibrium feel as well, which is an underrated classic. Definitely recommend for you all to check that one out as well.
Yeah, we should get Equilibrium on the PXF classics list. Speaking of that, because Mac and I can't constantly stop talking about Equilibrium. Equilibrium was one of those ones I remember when I first saw that trailer. It was like around the time of The Matrix. I think I've said this on air before, and I was like, that looks like garbage. I don't want to see that movie. Then eventually I rented the VHS, and I was like, that was way better than The Matrix. That was, you know what I mean? It's easy to like another trailer. It's easy to brush over. Equilibrium, dude. I wish I saw Equilibrium in the trailer, bro. I'm jealous of you. If it ever comes back, I'm going. So we'll just say, like, one thing about it, you know, the description I read is like, you know, he kind of gives you this personal reason for going about his mission of why he's going to do what he's going to do, the main character. And, you know, it kind of, I don't know how bad corruption is or isn't in India, because I don't really know anything about geopolitics or, you know what I mean, or crime or anything there. So his name is Kid. And of course, Dev Patel directed, like we said, but they give you a much more personal reason for why he is like going on this revenge quest for his enemies, and it's kind of stooped in, you know, Indian, political geopolitics and corruption. So that almost gave me like Gomorrah vibes, Gaz, with the, obviously in Gomorrah, it's the Carabinieri, but I saw a parallel there. I don't know if I'm way
No,
off
no,
on that.
no. I
Just
don't. I don't think you're
Europe
too far off. Particularly, shout out to the actress as well. Pos now. What it was? I think it was Queenie. Yeah, Queenie, played by Ashwini Kalsekar. Sorry if I've absolutely butchered your name.
Yep.
Yeah, her character, and I know what you mean in the way that whole. It was all set up in the restaurant. The bar definitely had that Gomorrah vibe to it. I thought that, yeah, for sure. So yeah, good point.
That and even the flashback for how they showed him as a kid. I mean, his name's Kid. They showed him as a kid, so I suppose that's the parallel there. For he basically watches something happen, it basically stays with him. It's essentially like a generational crime story, and damn well done. I guess we'll get into the one cameo. If you guys saw the trailer, you obviously saw this dude. Sharto Copley is kind of like the name, probably the the European whiteface that you'd recognize in this movie. But Sharto is the man. He's the dude from District 9. He actually plays Ted Kaczynski in the Ted K movie, the Unabomber movie, which I did watch. It was very weird pacing. It was well directed, but it was just slow. But anyway, Sharto's the man. He's in a lot of good stuff. A lot of rumors about a District 9 sequel. I don't know that will ever come to fruition. So Sharto's like the announcer. He's like he's like the microphone ring dude in the Fight Club. So
yeah, he's a South African ring announcer. Well, South African actor. And he is very, very theatrical, very over the top. To show
grimy underground kind of dude.
Yeah, and he's you can't help laugh either. I mean, pretty much his use of language as well, which must set a record for how many F-bombs you can drop in a sentence.
Dude, he's in everything now. He was in the new season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like, I don't know what this Sharto reemergence is, but for him to pop up in Monkey Man and Curb Your Enthusiasm, like, he's popping up everywhere, dude. I love the guy. I think he's awesome. Ever since District 9, I think. Quite frankly, I think they could have used him a little more, but at the same time, like, he gave that flair to the movie without like overpowering it, like Gaz said. Like he's a perfect cameo, but they don't overuse him or anything like that.
Yeah, agreed. A grimy Bruce Buffer, I guess.
Yes, the underground freaking illegal black market Bruce Buffer. He was good in Elysium. I forgot he was in Elysium too, because of course that is
Elysium
as well.
Good movie.
It's a classic. It's kind of a District 9 spiritual sequel. But yeah, I mean, Gaz, I think you mentioned this before. I like the realistic approach to the fighting scenes. There's a lot of very grimy grapples and scrambles. It's not like a clean, Jet Li or any type of those movies where they just have like the precise, like, neck slices and the guys just drop like a sack of potatoes. It's a much more realistic fighting style with the struggles and the gritty griminess was there from what I saw,
What's good, y'all, is he doesn't just obliterate everyone from the go. Yeah. He goes through a struggle, pretty brutal struggle, actually.
Exactly.
Then I guess this ties a bit in with Indian culture as well, how you can kind of, find yourself again, very spiritual place. Just say it goes through that.
I appreciated that theme, but I just want to come in on the pacing. Yeah. So it is a 2-hour movies, guys. I did find that somewhat unnecessary for Agreed. Like, if we could just return to the 80s, 90s days of hour 15, hour 20, hour 30 max action movies that, we all grew up on. That's the way to go with a film like this.
Yeah.
All the extra.
I respect how they wanted to bring in and showcase that part of Indian culture. The problem was, I feel they could have reduced that. There was still quite a lot of unnecessary. Okay, there was parts where they give you some of the backstory, which was cool. I kind of like the guy who kind of becomes a bit of his guru, I guess, his mentor. I've got to shout this scene out. I really thought this was good. We're both music heads as well. And there's a scene where, spoiler alert, folks, Dev is training on a makeshift punch bag. And there's a guy, I forget the name of the instrument, but the classic Indian drums and the guy's Dev's, I guess, training along to the rhythm of the drums. So as the drums get faster, Dev either hits harder or increases his pace. I really liked how they did that. It had like everyone intertwined. That was a really cool, good aspect. I really liked that. It wasn't a cheesy montage from some, action movies now, which can look a little bit dated in that regard, where they have the horrendously bad workout routine in a park or something like that.
Yeah.
So I did like that. But that's a perfect segue into the score itself, folks. The score's pretty good. There's some actually grimy hip hop beats there. Some of the Indian MCs I definitely want to look up. Slipknot fan. I don't know if you know the band. You probably do. Bloodywood. Who've really gone off in recent years. Their track Dan Dan is in the movie. It appears near the end as a soundtrack to a huge fight. So it was cool to see Bloodywood get some shine. So that's definitely something worth looking out for. But yeah, that's it. Tablet, 5VC. I'm a Northern Barbarian, so yeah, you'll find them, man. Just look up Bloodywood. They're all over. They started as like a cover band, I think, covering other people's songs. I'm probably, hopefully, I haven't insulted them. They've got an album. They're pretty cool cats. Anyway, I've been back to the movie because I'm digressing.
No, the music, Gaz's point stands. I thought the music, like, along with the editing, shot angles, and just the overall editing, really transitions, amazing. But as Gaz said, score is a major compliment to that. Like, honestly, for a first-time director, I think he did better than 90% of Western U.S. Hollywood directors, because most of the time they put up a piece of crap. I mean, this is some obviously he knows the filmmaking process because he's an actor, but as Gaz said, his use of music, and then again, the film is very esteemed in Indian culture. So you're going to see like a lot of Indian culture themes, and the music is the backdrop. He just uses a great job. Like Gaz said, from the fight scenes to even just that whole highway chase scene, Gaz. I recall that. I think that was kind of like an EDM kind of electronic song, but that worked perfectly. I'd like to look up filming locations just to see. Obviously, that was filmed out there. I wonder if it has cities listed.
Yeah, I did think that the shoot at the start, where he, spoiler alert here, where I'll just say he gets taken out. And when he was running along the top of the train, I think it was at the top of the train track or train. It was the buildings at one point. I thought that was really shot well. Mm-hmm. The helicopter above that was really good.
Before
I really
he jumps into the water.
That was really cool.
Awesome. I mean, I think that whole run of the first half of the movie was such a good run that pacing slowdown that he fits, which is kind of like an action movie cliche. Gets injured, has to recover, blah blah blah. But like Gaz said, the way he did it, esteemed in Indian culture, was a clever way to do it. So it looks like it was Mumbai and Batam, Indonesia. So I'm not sure what part so as Gaz said, a la the Raid Redemption. So I'm not sure what parts were Indonesia. But man, amazing editing. I really don't have any criticism for the film other than just kind of that one slow down, and then of course the temple priestess character, as Gaz said. Also, I mean, I want to give kudos to the villains, the chief of police, and then the kind of evil guru that was kind of his overarching overlord. Both of them were really good villains. Definitely portrayed pure evil. The chief of police was more of just like a corrupt dude. I think he was Rana, was the character, and then just like Gaz said, like if a character is like bigger than him, he's not just gonna God mode through the movie, overpowering him. He really struggles through the fights, and that comes across, which is refreshing to see a more realistic take.
I was going to say it makes it believable because he certainly goes on a journey. Like his early appearances where he's kind of like a human punch bag in the Underground Fight Club, which is basically kind of mix of wrestling with a bit of MMA and Muay Thai thrown together.
Kickboxing.
When he comes back later, there's a hilarious scene. That's all I shall say. Blink and you'll miss it. So certainly pay attention to it. It's absolutely fantastic. I did like the other thing I think we need to point out as well, aside from some of the other characters, is the lighting as well, particularly when we come to the final act, when he's going up in the elevators and he's going in each room. The way they did the lighting and showed the colors, I thought that was good. Particularly probably because they had the smaller budgets, so they couldn't do, say, what they do in more well-funded action movies. That I thought was really well done.
I mean, there's some amazing fights from from early on. So I mean, I like the whole, you know, journey that he essentially he joins this this club restaurant or whatever, where he's a bar back or a waiter or whatever, and kind of works his way up to infiltrate to get back at his enemies. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler. I think the average person would have gathered that from the trailer. But I know I just very, very simplified it. But what I explained goes on through phases, and you know, the way it plays out through the scenes. His interaction with the characters is awesome. There's that one dude that he, you know, kind of gets in the good graces of. They do the side deal, Gaz. And he helps
Alfonso.
Get the promotion. What was it?
Alfonso, played by Peter Bash.
That dude was hilarious. You know what I mean?
He was.
Of course, when he goes to get his first piece at the underground gun dealer, obviously that guy makes the John Wick joke, which got a good response in the theater, which is always hilarious. But going up to that last fight scene, as Gaz said, the whole kind of like going up the elevator, it's almost like a game of death cliche. And obviously they show that in the trailer with the blood drip off his fist onto his boot. It's that close-up scene, which I thought was an amazing. It shows all the reflections. It's showing like the elevator buttons and then the blood drip off his shit. Like just like those little details of like, you know, the blood dripping on the ground and the little close-ups of the like all those little close-ups he used. Just amazing filmmaking, you know.
There's something I think as well that we need to point out for people is this has good, memorable characters like action movies of yesteryear. For example, you know, you rightly mentioned Alfonso, played by Peter Bash. Sikander Kher, who played Rana, who's you know, the main villain who Dev is going after. Their initial encounter again, you see, it's not going to be right. I've got him now, so I'm going to get my way. No, that doesn't happen. But I thought Rana was a very, very good villain, had good presence, very powerful man. Not a dude you could certainly take down easily. And I mentioned her earlier. I thought Queenie, utterly hilarious, but I thought the actor did a really good job. She was one of the standout characters as well.
Agreed. Yeah. So that's his wife, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So she runs the business, and then Rana is the chief of police, whichever that means in Mumbai. You can clearly see it's a crime film, so not much policing going on. But I also want to say that this underground club, it's like an underground VIP club. They're handing out those drugs. I can't even remember now if that was an experimental liquid drug or they obviously had the vials of cocaine. But it's very much reminiscent of that VIP club in Batman with Robert Pattinson. It's like it gave me
the Ice Club.
It's kind of like a mixture between the Ice Club and the Continental, because it's this, you know, like reverse Continental, right? It's this secret, upstairs VIP clubs, the restaurant, bars, but then like only the elite, rich criminals go there, who are like all the, you know, foreign nationals of all these countries that are uber rich. And then, as Gaz said, it kind of all builds up to him getting into that final VIP club for the grand finale fight scene, which I think has a major, like I said, so amazing beginning, amazing middle, kind of a 20-minute-ish slowdown in between. But I will just say the payoff of leading, because we got to talk about this final fight, guys. Leading up to that final fight, which has like some of the goriest kills ever. Just the whole way they shot that, like Gaz said, it's really hard to explain it, but when the temple priestess brings the rest of the priestesses, and they have the spinning cloaks, the spinning cloaks with the colors synchronized with the score. That is one of the most beautiful action scenes. I wish you guys watched Silent Night, because was it Silent? What was the movie I was watching? Silent Night. right? Yeah, Silent Night. Because at the end of that, they did something similar where there was like a club scene where this like drug dealer dude had like the strobes and he was playing music and he had this like hot chick up there and he was dancing with her. And then, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Silent Night, I'm sorry. And then obviously you all know what I'm about to say is it ensues with like a major shootout to like the music track with the club strobe and a similar kind of effects. Like obviously Monkey Man didn't have the strobe, but they had, like you said, the bright light in the club room with the slow motion, you know, twirling and the soundtrack and whatnot. So again, it's this is one of the few times it's actually kind of difficult for us to like describe the film to you. It's one of those ones I think you just got to go watch for yourself. But the synchronization between the score, you know, the sound effects, the fight scene, and the fight choreography in that last scene is, you know, the way Dev was throwing the kicks. I would like to see what his prep was for the role if he just did some kickboxing and some things of that nature, because dude's kicks were on point. The way they used objects, and obviously, you know, you see what happens to the big baddie. So, yeah, guys, check it out. Monkey Man is sick. I rate it pretty highly.
Yeah, me too. Even the big bad who he has that final fight with right at the end. Yeah, I guess cult leader, for want of a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
Even he had good presence, and
yeah, that's what I was saying.
He had, and what made him, I think, a good villain was he had that calm way of talking, but yet you knew he was equally threatening. It'd be almost like someone inviting you around for dinner, right? Yeah, I'm going to I'm going to serve you this like 5-star meal, but you know I'm not a dude to be messed with. And I'm going to politely tell you that, yeah, I'm pretty much going to do you harm. And he had that. Like
Gaz said, he had that cult leader tone where it's like he had the charisma, but also the menacing, you know, edge to it, you know?
I also like the way they shot that final fight because, yes, okay, a little bit reminded me of, was it John Wick 3, where he's upstairs and you see like the Japanese kind of samurai pictures in the background. But this, of course, was focused on Indian culture, but I like that. And you saw the city in the background, that whole shot and the scene, the way it was done. And also, you even thought the cult leader got the better at first, and then the way they turn it around. Like we've said, this is. Ross put this across really well, that this is a movie that, for once, is quite hard to describe. You have to actually see it, and considering this only had 10 million USD. And for what they've achieved with that and how they immerse the viewer, they really do make you feel the shots. The guide certainly goes through a journey. I think it's an incredible job. The only, and it's not like a big criticism, was myself and being Ross was saying about the pacing with the kind of, I guess, the spiritual journey halfway through. That's about it. I mean, that's not bad. This is put it this way, I'm probably going to upset people. I enjoyed this way more than the Roadhouse remake that reviewed the other week. This is much more up my alley. I thought this was really good.
Very brutal. I mean, even what you would call the brutality in Roadhouse is, it has that CGI effect that Scott Adkins was criticizing. You really don't have that in Monkey Man. You really feel like you're there. You really feel like you're in the room. I feel like I could be sitting right here on my desk watching the movie, and I could turn right there in the space, and those guys would be fighting right next to me. Like you feel like you're in the room watching the fight, as Gaz was saying. And then as far as the effects of the violence and the brutality and what it does to limbs and body parts of this movie, it looks like what would happen. It's not the Hollywood, shoot a PG-13 fight when they break a limb, cut the angle so you don't actually see it. He shows you, there's no cutaways. He shows you everything. So for the kills, very, very, very brutal kills. And I've used the word stylized, unfortunately, 50 times in the last 5 Vigilante reviews, so I've kind of watered it down, but this one is as stylized as it gets, as Gaz was saying, in the lighting, the angles, the editing, you know what I mean, and in conjunction with the synchronized music. Again, Gaz and I are both whites from the U.S. and UK, so we might be missing a lot of the Bollywood culture and esteemed. But what I would say is how the Protector, like Monkey Man, does for MMA, martial arts, vigilante action, for what the Protector, for India, for what the Protector did to Thailand. As Gaz was saying, the Protector had that whole 10 strike fighting style with the elephant tusks and the Muay Thai. Of course, it doesn't really go into much into Dev's like fighting style, but it does go into the spiritualism, the spirituality of a warrior. You know what I mean? So
I think it's nice as well. And this is no disrespect to the numerous movies that they put out from Bollywood. How they coordinate all the dancing and singing and everything. Mad respect for that, because that, I know it takes such a monumental task to do.
Live
But it's
production.
nice to see this other side that they're putting out some now solid action movies.
Yeah.
I mentioned this on the last review. There's a trailer for a movie, another Bollywood one called Kill, which is actually meant to be okay. So I'm going to have a look at that as well. Yeah. So it's nice to see that, like Ross rightly said, the protector of Thailand, that it's not always, and I say this, I mean, as a clue in a background, I'm obsessed with, Japanese culture and everything. But it's nice where if we think of, say, action movies from the Far East, we're not always looking at Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, Indonesia. Japan, China, Indonesia. Yeah. Hey, we're seeing the other side of Bollywood. It's not always about, all right, we're going to watch all the singing and dancing for 3 hours. And I mean, absolutely no disrespect at all. It's nice that the another side of filmmaking that's just as good and should be up there with all those other countries you've mentioned is now getting some shine. And like I said earlier, I'm all for it. It's good.
Even Extraction too. I had that actress. I believe she was Indian or maybe Indian from the UK, and she was amazing. So I mean, link up her and Dev. I mean, if it's not a Monkey Man sequel, do something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this goes along with our one-person army series. Go ahead, guys.
I was just about to say with that is you've got me thinking like of likes of Gamora. So with Dev, he's British Indian, the actress you just mentioned. So you could do something where, okay, it's set in one part of the UK, then in India, say, and you've got it connected like that. They could do a movie there.
Yep,
that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm not totally set on like a sequel to this. Like I was saying, I don't think it's necessary. But although I could see this doing pretty good in the wake of John Wick. So I mean, again, if they were to do it, I don't think Gaz and I would be criticizing it. I would say, cut it down. You don't really need a 2-hour action movie, in my opinion. You just don't. Like, you could get everything done. And I do want to rewatch this, though, because there was definitely a lot I missed. So I will say that. I don't always rewatch everything, but I'm definitely going to rewatch Monkey Man just because of the clean fighting sequences. And there's definitely stuff that I want to revisit. I can pretty much give you guys my rating now. It's got a 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb. I gave it an 8 just because I usually rate high. I would be anywhere between like a 7.5 to an 8. Like I said, just that slowdown in the middle, like Gaz said, that was a lot of characterization, character building, and kind of completing the story arc. But again, as I said, an Indian person might watch this and say they absolutely nailed culture, they absolutely nailed background, so like it could be a 10 out of 10 for someone else, especially if it's their first time seeing a dark, gritty vigilante one-person army revenge movie,
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same as you, man. I think I mentioned I rated it as an 8 when I first saw it. So yeah, it's an 8. And I'm totally with you, man. Just that pacing in the middle act. And that's and it's a minor issue. It's completely minor. I didn't have a problem at all. Issue. I just thought some of that could have been reduced.
Same.
Just that's it. So it's not bad at all. I would highly recommend going to watch this. It is a good movie. Hopefully, it doesn't go completely under the radar.
Yeah, I think it would be one of those things when it hits streaming, it'll pick up. Like a lot of those. That Italian movie we watched, was it Beast or whatever? There's
that was pretty sick.
There's a lot of those that tend to do better once if it gets onto Netflix or whatever it ends up. Of course, like we said, it seems like Fallout would be doing pretty good on Prime. So you know what I mean. I think this would be the type of thing to pick up a little bit. I saw an advanced screening. I do want to see Civil War. I do want to see Boy Kills World, and then that will pretty much take us into Furiosa. So that'll be the new stuff. In the meantime, we'll be working on the backlog. We have The Crow 1994 OG coming. I can't wait till we get to August so I can go to The Crow 2024 completely bent and give you guys a nonsense review of it. But shout out to everybody who came through. Slipknot fan, Fire Pixie, UFC 300 tonight, biggest card of the year. 300,000 fight bonuses for the night. I don't know. You want to do some quick predicts, guys?
Yeah, man. So let's go. For one, I've got to say, I said this at the start of the review. I'm looking forward to Kayla Harrison's debut. I followed her in PFL. Some people I've read some negative comments. People, she's not going to do Kayla Harrison's a beast, man, a beast, and I expect
that should be a good fight.
very, very well.
I know him too.
I mean, dude, this is such a stacked card, even in the prelims. I mean, hell, man. So yeah, I'm gonna go Kayla Harrison, the victory over Holly Holm. Let's see some others on there.
I'm gonna go Alex Pereira, Poa 10, bang, 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 knockout over Hill.
What about Charles Oliveira and Arman?
They're making a big deal about Arman's ground game. I'm a Charlie Oliveira guy. I got Charles. He's one of my favorite fighters. Who do you have for the China on China championship? I got Wei Li. I think I have Zhang, dude.
Yeah, I'm the same there.
Jan's good though, so it could be a very good fight. It could be a 5-round decision, you know.
The thing is, who knows? Because we often come up with our predictions, and then we'll be like texting each other, and then be like, "Oh man, yeah, it's something completely different."
That's fighting. So who else is up there on the main? I know there's Bo Nickel. I think Bo Nickel will probably get that guy. I don't really know anything about Brundage. Then who else is on the main card?
What about
BMF? Max and Gaethje BMF.
Yeah. Oh man.
I want Max, but everyone says Gaethje's going to destroy him. But honestly, I want Max to win. So you know what I mean?
I like Max, but this is a tough one. I wouldn't be so. I think it could go either way. To be honest,
same here.
A real tough one to predict.
People say Gaethje's going to absolutely starch him. Yeah, I'm coming to your Blade Runner question. Don't worry, Slipknot. People think Gaethje's going to absolutely starch him. I think they're going to be surprised by Max at 155, you know? That's my guess.
This is an interesting fight. I think I saw this guy. He fought the other week that, probably going to butcher his name, the guy from the Czech Republic. It's either it might be pronounced Yuri or Jiri Prochazka.
Oh, Yuri Prochazka is going to go crazy, dude. He's a credible Czech Republic champion. He had to forfeit his belt because he had a shoulder injury. He's fighting Rasik, though. Rasik's good, too, right? So that's going to be a fight, you know? I got Yuri, though. Calvin Kattar, the Boston Boy, versus Aljo Sterling. I'm not a Sterling fan, bro. I hope Kattar trashes him.
Yeah, I know you're not a Sterling fan. Man, I mean, bro, there's just it's one of those where I know some people don't watch the prelims, but this is one where I feel you've got to, just for the quality that is on here.
This prelims card is better. If you think of like a UFC made card, this prelims card is better than other leagues' main cards. You know, and I go to Bellator, I'm a Bellator fan, PFL, but they don't have they wish they had a main like this prelim. If you so they're talking about Dago and Yusuf on the setting that off. I'm probably going Dago. I don't really know much about
Diego.
But look at these early prelims, guys. Jalen Turner versus Renato Macano. I probably got Turner, but that could be a good fight. You know, I'm probably thinking Andrade. That's women's straw rate. This Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. Jim Miller was on freaking UFC 100. He's on UFC 300. That's crazy, guys. That's crazy. And then Davison Figueroa versus Cody Garbrandt. Probably just got us unmonetized. I got Davison.
Yeah.
I'm not a Cody fan.
I'm pretty much the same as you. Very, very similar. I just want to say this to the wrestling heads. If you're like me, be starting to become very disillusioned with both AEW, well, not going to say anything.
Waxomania, brother!
No, don't get me started on WWE.
Well, they had the Undertaker cameo, so I'll give them that.
Yeah, it's just oh man.
Well, it's not the 80s, guys. You know, it's kind of like how I feel about Hollywood action movies today. You know,
WWE hasn't been good since 2008, to be honest. And AEW is trying to be too much like WWE, which never works. So that's why their ratings are bombing. All the soap opera that's going on is just oh man. I'm just going back to more what I used to always watch. You know, martial arts, MMA, stuff like that.
Agreed.
So. Slipknot put a question, Ross.
Let me get these. Question. Okay, so I have Blade Runner in my list of PXF classics. Slipknot. We have a list of our OG backlog, and I'll give you some of it. You guys have heard me talk about The Crow 1994 all week, but I also have Apocalypse Now as my number 1 ever. I have Blade Runner as my number 2 ever. So I know a lot about Blade Runner, bro. So let me rant and rave at you about Blade Runner. So Blade Runner is based on Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. That's my favorite sci-fi author. He wrote the books and stories that became like Total Recall, Minority Report, Blade Runner, like Paycheck. Those are kind of like the big like Phil K. Dick movies. Obviously, Blade Runner being the biggest. I have a long. How much time do you have, Slipknot? Because I have a long.
I'll go and get a coffee.
We're trying to watch UFC 300 later. Clear out your evening, Slipknot. You should not have asked this question on a Monkey Man review, my boy. So, I watched Slipknot. I watched Blade Runner like on VHS, like at a very young age, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely hated it. This will be a story for the long drawn out Blade Runner retrospective that we'll do for you. Absolutely hated it because it's super slow pace. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the context and the philosophy. And then as I grew older, reading like, you know, Arthur C. Clarke, you know, Philip K. Dick. I've read like all of those major sci-fi writers. Ray Bradbury, like name one. Like as Gaz knows, I have a long history reading all this stuff. Even that movie, The Thing, is an old black and white movie, The Thing from Another World.
Yeah.
That comes from an old sci-fi story.
Yeah.
So basically all of these old sci-fi stories come from either a short story or a book from back in the day, and a lot of it is the Phil K. Dick stuff. So Blade Runner, I ultimately became obsessed with that, like not knowing if you're a man or a machine concept that Blade Runner displays. The Nexus replicants, right? They make more advanced generations of them. It's similar, parallel to the Terminator concept. A lot of people say Terminator is like inspired by the Philip K. Dick stuff, which all comes back to Blade Runner, which all comes back to Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. So we get up to Nexus 5, Nexus 6, essentially like Blade Runner. We come into the Blade Runner universe following Rick Deckard's story on the Nexus 6, and he eventually made those what's her name, Rachel in the movie. He essentially made these Nexus 7 prototypes that don't have a retirement date, so they're almost like the big government regulation on the Tyrell Corporation was that you have to have the replicants with a built-in retirement date. That's the only failsafe that will know the difference between us and them, you know what I'm saying? But Tyrell, being the lunatic he is, he eventually makes like the Nexus 7 prototype with the unexpiring retirement date. So that's what Rachel is. So that's why Deckard like questions his humanity, because he doesn't in the director's cut, now we're going to get into some real shit. In the director's cut, he has that unicorn dream, the horse with the unicorn dream, that's supposed to signify that Deckard is a replicant. Now we have an argument between Harrison Ford and the director of the movie, Ridley Scott, of what is the meaning of Blade Runner. Like, is it insinuating to you that Deckard's a replicant, or is Deckard a human? He's a human Blade Runner that hunts down replicants because they go rogue, they kill humans. You got to have these special detectives hunt them down and kill them. But, like Mac pointed out to me, Roy Batty saved Deckard when he was going to slip and fall off the roof. Yeah. Roy Batty caught him. Roy didn't save any humans in the movie. Everyone Roy killed was a human. He never killed any replicants. So it's another hint that, like, why did Roy save Deckard, you know? Is Deckard like a replicant? We don't know. So the argument between Harrison is Harrison wanted him to be human, I think, and Ridley is kind of like, he was fine with like him being a replicant or being open-ended. So Blade Runner is like one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time, bro. I had the same experience though. I didn't like it at all because it was so slow-paced, but ultimately I became obsessed with the universe and the Deckard concept, the man versus machine, and the replicants. So we'll do a Blade Runner retrospective for you if it's something you're interested in. We'll start with Blade Runner OG, and then if you guys are like interested in a Blade Runner series, we can do Blade Runner 2049, which is a good sequel as well. Obviously, Denis Villeneuve, who did Dune Part 2. Also, that animated Blade Runner, I sent that to you guys, right, guys? The animated short film, is it Blackout 2029?
Oh, you did, yeah. Like watch that. I'll have to rewatch it because
that was sick too.
That a long time ago.
That was sick too. The only thing I didn't like was I watched that series. God, was that Prime or whoever did that about like the replicant girl that was like the replicant fighter, and it's like that weird CGI anime. That's probably the only whack Blade Runner project. Everything else is pretty sick. Even the PC games are pretty good. That old side scroller from Westwood.
I was just about to say, apparently there was a Blade Runner game on PC back Now it's either early 2000s, could be before, or maybe mid 2000s, and apparently even that the game, and it was I guess a bit like an RPG adventure. Even that apparently had multiple endings. I never played
Yeah,
it.
you're talking about the point and click side scroller, right?
I don't know, dude.
I played it. It's
no
the
idea.
Westwood game, dude. It has like 18 or 20 endings, dude. That game is sick.
Wow.
It follows another group of replicants. It's like similar to Roy Batty's crew in the movie. It's like a similar Roy Batty character, but that game is that game's sick. That's one of the best side scrollers I've ever played. Good.
I mean, I'm not as deeply invested in it as Ross is with Blade Runner, but it's certainly one of the classic sci-fis.
I'm quite deeply invested.
Rutger Hauer's line, at the end on the OG on the roof. I mean, that's
he wrote that.
Cinema gold, isn't it?
Rutger Hauer wrote that dialogue.
Yeah.
So if you watch Ridley Scott, he's like, yeah, I've had actors try to write lines and come to me before, and I've been just like, dude, I'm the writer, I'm the director. Actors don't write lines, but he's like, Rutger Hauer came to me with that, and Ridley Scott was like, oh my god, he's like, this is one of the best things I've ever read. That's a director saying that, and keep in mind, Rutger is just a lowly actor. In a lot of people's opinion, Rutger is not a very good actor. I love the guy. I think he's incredible. Hobo with a Shotgun review. We could do that anytime.
Rutger, peace to him. I think is a very good actor. The problem why people say that is because Rutger took a lot of low budget action movies. I mean, what's the martial arts one where he's like the blind? Is it Blind Fury?
Blind Fury. It's
sick.
I
mean, that's still not seen it a long.
It's based on the old Yato Ichi, the old samurai. It's the American version.
And I mean, Blade Runner. I mean, if you look at it like this, even for music, sci-fi stories that are full of film, it's pretty much like the benchmark for cyberpunk. Mm-hmm. The whole look of that city is dope. It still stands up, man.
Yeah, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Fire Pixie met and had a shot with Nate Diaz in Vegas 2 years ago. It was awesome. Yes, I just spoke myself in third person. LOL. I've seen Diaz fight on a couple of UFC fights live. They've been absolutely sick. He just said that it's 100% guaranteed that he'll do a trilogy with Conor. I might try to go to that if they do it, depending on if it's in Vegas or if it's out by Gaz in the UK. I might just go there. Diaz is boxing George Masvidal June 1st in Cali. I'm going to be at that. The press conference is up now. I haven't watched it, but love Diaz. We're Diaz fans over here. Yeah. I realized the people who didn't like Blade Runner for the same reason you mentioned earlier. They found it too slow-paced and aren't well-versed in the lore. Rutger is the man. Have you seen Hobo with a Shotgun, Slipknot? I think that's a Rutger you would enjoy. But yeah, no, it's Blade Runner's. I think once you read the book, you have a much better understanding. And mind you, the book is a much more Blade Runner is an interpretation of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep has a lot more in it than what Blade Runner has, and I think it has aliens and all this other stuff that is kind of left out, and Blade Runner is much more focused on the Rick Deckard detective story. It's a futuristic crime noir. This is what me and Gaz always talk about, that we love these futuristic, they're not post-apocalyptic, but they're almost I don't even know what you would call them, but it's a futuristic crime noir, like an old detective movie, like the old Humphrey Bogart stuff. It's just a futuristic detective, Yeah. Hobo is so good, dude. Rutger is the GOAT. And there's a lot of other stuff. Split Second, that sci-fi movie Split Second. You seen that one, Gaz? That one's sick.
Oh man, not for a long time.
It's like a low-budget B-movie Predator, but that's one of my favorite Rutgers. Yeah. Oh, God, the guy just has so much good stuff, dude. I love the guy. But anyway, that's it for Monkey Man. You got my Blade Runner rant, so we'll do a Blade Runner retrospective for you guys. That stuff coming up on Mosh Ninja. We want to get the Beat 'em Up reviews up as soon as Wrath of Cobra drops. Mayhem Brawler 2 on Gaz's channel, and Toxic Crusaders. Shout out to Trauma. Might have a little something going on with them. We'll see how it pans out. Trying to think of what else is out there. That's it for the beat 'em ups. I'm waiting for that new Toxic Avenger too. I'm pumped for that, but we'll see. There's quite
a few come up. There's a dope samurai game that's just come out, but it's only on PS5 at the moment, and I'm sure it's made by the people behind Ninja Gaiden and
maybe it'll port over to Steam.
Yeah, I hope so. It's meant to be pretty sick. For those who are wondering if there's the ninja movies and stuff will be coming to Moshinobi soon. I just have a lot going on at the moment, so that's kind of why there's been a little bit of a delay if people are wondering. But myself, Ross, and Mac have access to that channel, so Ross puts stuff up on there. Hopefully Mac will as well. So it's
Yeah, like we said, we'll be back on track. I think once we
yeah.
get Gaz up to speed on Shogun, once I get up on Kamui, we'll have at least a couple things there, and then that we'll see how Fallout goes, and then obviously I think The Boys drops in June, so I definitely want to get The Boys season 4 review up here for you guys because that's my favorite show.
And I've just found the game as well. It's called Rise of the Ronin.
Nice.
Action role-playing game developed by Team Ninja. That's on PS5 at the moment. Hopefully that gets ported over to a PC and other systems. But that's from the team behind. Is it the Neo? I'm going to butcher this. The Neo games, which are loosely based on. Actually, perfectly ties into Shogun. Is it William, the British dude who becomes a samurai? The whole kind of story behind Shogun. Those games are loosely tied in with that, apparently.
Is that where Shogun's going? Interesting, because I'm only two episodes in, so I'm interested.
Yes, so that's something could maybe look at some point. But I just want to send a shout out to Fire Pixie and Slipknot fan for coming through. I mean, probably someone's going to be thinking, "Oh, Slipknot have come through." I'm like, no. Unfortunately, I'm not on. We're not on Corey Taylor's. So, what does Corey Taylor think of this moment that gets But thanks for coming through, man. Anyway, it's much appreciated.
Yep, shout out Fire Pixie, Monkey Man. Go check it out, guys. We'll get the trailers posted up for you guys. We're coming back with Crow OG 1994. Hopefully Civil War, if Mac, Gaz, and myself can all get it screened, which I'm hearing mixed reviews about. And then I think the next one will be Boy Kills World. We really want to do Bill Skarsgård a solid before we go in on him on the Crow remake. So we're gonna give you as much good from him as we possibly can before we get up to the Crow. Then we're gonna toast it. And then I heard some stuff leaking about that Nosferatu. I think it was some screenshots. I don't know if it was an actual teaser, but there's
I'm sure it isn't William. Just real quick, I think isn't Willem Dafoe in that, who is a very underrated actor in my opinion.
I think so. Dafoe's amazing.
Yeah, he is.
I'll drop a little treat for you guys before we go. I think I mentioned this maybe on one show. Boondock Saints 3 is greenlighted without Troy Duffy directing. They're going to have Troy Duffy writing with a new director, and then obviously they had Dafoe cameo at the end of part 2. So I don't know if hopefully Dafoe is coming back in 3. So we'll see.
Apparently you're right. A trailer's dropped for Nosferatu, so it could be worth a look at. And the Joker 2 teaser, as you rightly.
The Joker. Check out the Joker 2 trailer, guys. That was yes, sir, brother. We'll be covering that. We're big Boondock fans here. But yeah, we'll definitely go check out that Joker 2 trailer. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty damn good. I'm not the big Lady Gaga guy, but it looks sick. I think that's all we got for today. Paradigm Review Show. We'll be back with the Crow 1994 OG. Mac, tap in so we can get the schedule going. Shout out to everybody who came through. Fire Pixie, Slipknot fan. The Patreon is below. I have another show coming up with Mike Rodelli and Holly Toshke. Gaz and I are editing Z-Files episode 4 coming soon. So we'll have the main series and the Zodiac stuff coming back ASAP. I think that's pretty much it on our end. You could always buy the comic book on Amazon if you're feeling saucy, and we'll have more updates coming for you guys soon. I got a couple more 1-minute book reviews. Do this one for my boy Chris, Take the Money and Run. That's a good one. That I'll throw up under the shorts section. So that's it for the show. Tune in next time. Like, sub, share. Sub Gaz at Mosh Shinobi. Patreon below. Click the membership, the member button, join right next to the subscription. We're out. PRS.
Peace.
Monkey Man. Go watch it. Go buy it. Yeah, I've been doing this thing lately where I keep clicking leave studio, not end stream. So, whoops.